special treat, something maybe a little sweet. That feeling you get when you start craving that perfect soft serve ice cream mixed with your favorite treats and blended to perfection. Nothing beats the taste and makes your day cooler than one of your favorite blizzards from East Grand Forks Dairy Queen. Now open at 50% capacity for inside dining. East Grand Forks Dairy Queen is committed to serving you with America's favorite treat. So go ahead and treat yourself and head over to East Grand Forks Dairy Queen.
Are you kidding me?
While the kids in the neighborhood are practicing those home runs, you're now practicing some deep breathing while you stare at the baseball embedded into your windshield. Give Express Auto Glass a call and they'll knock it out of the park with your auto glass repair or replacement. Call 701-738-0750.
Get the advantage, the Tri-Steel advantage.
Whether you bleed red or green, Tri-Steel Manufacturing has a large selection of general replacement parts for your farm machinery needs, including bearings, hydraulic motors, sprockets, roller chains, pulleys, and more. Tri-Steel's extensive parts department has replacement parts from leading manufacturers like Browning, Rex, Nord, and Temkin. Tri-Steel has replacement parts you need. Tri-Steel Manufacturing, 3100 North Washington Street.
Get the advantage, the Tri-Steel advantage.
Welcome back to Cushman Field here in Grand Forks Midtown as we get ready for high school soccer tonight between Grand Forks Red River and Fargo South on the Franson Bank and Trust New Vision Truck and Accessory Sports Network from KNOX. Let's take a look at our starting lineups for tonight's matchup. Our starting lineups tonight are brought to you by Chris Moen, your Nodak insurance agent in Grand Forks and the area. With competitive rates and outstanding local service, it's easy to see why more people in North Dakota are making the switch to Nodak Insurance. Chris Moen knows North Dakota. He knows insurance, and he might even know you. Give him a call and get a quote. 757-1613. That's 757-1613. Call for a quote with Nodak Insurance. We will have our national anthem, so we'll bring you our starting lineups right after the presentation of our national anthem tonight. But ladies and gentlemen, first, our national anthem here at Cushman Field. National anthem presented here tonight. Taking a look through the crowd this evening, a little bit not quite as popular of an event as it was between Grand Forks Central and Grand Forks Red River that we had back on Thursday. Obviously, the Fargo South fans might not be using up all the vouchers that the individual players are allowed to bring to the game, but there are some faithful here. The Grand Forks Red River crowd has a few of the faithful here as well, and a few more will probably follow in as we go. It's at Cushman Field tonight. Beautiful night. With the threat of rain, however, out there. We've had a few rain sprinkles throughout the night. Let's get back to our starting lineups brought to you by Nodak Insurance and Chris Moen, your agent in the Grand Forks area. We will start with the visitors on the scoreboard tonight, the Fargo South Bruins. Their goalkeeper will be Chesson Coleman. Their defenders will be Gage Zimmerman, Vishal Monger, Taylor Labungo, and Jager Wallstead. The midfielders are Ram Thong, Charlie Larson, Riley Martin, Sujan Gale, and Philomore Gabriasis, and Ethan Jablone will be the forward tonight for the Fargo South Bruins. And the Bruins are coached by Amer Vatries and assisted by Danny Doherty. Starting lineup tonight for the Grand Forks Red River Rough Riders. The starting goalkeeper will be Matt Scribner. The defenders are Angel De La Cruz, Ethan Doctor, and Morgan Huffs. The midfielders are Lucas Height, Jacob Voracek, Gunnar Brooks, Dilson Garung, and Mustaf Abdi. And Brecken Short and Brendan Mullen will be the forwards this evening. The head coach of the Grand Forks Red River Rough Riders is Luke Glasso. He's assisted by Pat Coulter, Mitchell Highgard, Garrett Hoos, and Brian Gutierrez. Red River will be on our right tonight, and on our left will be Fargo South. The Bruins are in white with gold numerals and letters, and Red River going in red uniforms tonight with the white trim and letters and numbers, and the black shorts this evening. The goalkeepers, Grand Forks Red Rivers, Matt Scribner is in that lime outfit again, that lime green from the collar all the way down to the socks. And the Fargo South Bruins goalkeeper tonight, Chesson Coleman, will go in royal blue. It's an interesting color situation when you get to see the goalkeepers kind of dress up, and you're used to seeing that. If you've watched a matchup on television in the past, you'll see the goalkeepers always dress up in something a bit more colorful than the rest of the team out there. And we're set to go. Grand Forks Red River is going to have the opening possession just as some rain begins to fall here at Cushman Field, just kind of sprinkling off the windows here in the press box, if you will. And we're ready for the opening kick, and Brendan Mullen will send it back to Gannon Brooks, and we are underway with soccer here tonight as Red River has the opening possession. Dilson Garung kind of returning it back to the midfield. Morgan Hoffs back in the defensive backfield. Looking out towards the right, a little run here by Ethan Doctor near the far sideline, back to Garung at midfield. He'll come back over to the right sideline for Angel De La Cruz, running between a pair of Fargo South Bruins up front. Lucas Height trying to transition up for a run from Gannon Brooks, but this will be knocked out of bounds by Janger Wallstead of Fargo South, and Red River will have a throw-in about 20 yards away from the goal on the near sideline. Throw-in will come in from Brecken Short. He throws it right at the goal. There's a bit of pressure there from Mustaf Abdi. He ends up taking it away from the goalkeeper, and a bang out in front for Brendan Mullen. Up front, Gannon Brooks looking for an angle to get a kick away, and this will be booted out by the defenseman of Fargo South. And Red River able to threaten very early in the matchup, but we'll see the ball end up on a throw-in. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is Rough Rider Soccer.
News Radio 1310 KNOX AM Grand Forks and 1079 KNOX FM. Translating on K300 BG Grand Forks.
Really good pressure off the throw-in. Dilson Garung in the right corner trying to make a move around the Bruins. This will be booted up the far sideline, rolling, cut off on the far line by Doctor, and Doctor sends it back to the middle. So Fargo South very defensive early. Good early possession by Grand Forks Red River, controlling some time and some space. De La Cruz trying to get open again with Lucas Height. Height ends up shaking the ball off the sideline, but that'll result in a throw-in for Red River. As the Bruins were last to get there, De La Cruz will throw it to open space over in the corner. Good run by Brendan Mullen to get to the corner. Ralstead is there to try to defend him. This will be healed out of bounds by Ralstead. And we'll see another throw-in for Grand Forks Red River. But the entire first couple of minutes of this matchup as we approach the third minute of the match have been inside the Fargo South side of the field. And that's good news for Red River, putting on a lot of pressure early. No score on the Hugo's Lowe's scoreboard. 0-0. Scoreboard brought to you by Hugo's and Hugo's Lowe's. And we'll get ready for a throw-in for Grand Forks Red River. Actually, will turn out to be a corner kick, rather. This will be a corner. And Gannon Brooks, very quick approach to the corner, goes short with it, comes back to Garung, back to Brooks out of the corner. Brooks going laterally along the goal line, sets it out in front. There was a man there, but a little late on the play for Angel De La Cruz. He had an opening to work with as well, right out in front of the net, but was unable to keep the ball cleanly on his foot, and the ball ends up going beyond the sideline as De La Cruz tried to retrieve it. And Fargo South will throw it in. They'll look to Rom Thong in the middle of the field. Thong sends it back towards the sideline. Now a free ball out in the middle. Doctor sends it back towards Fargo South side. Ralstead coming over for a touch, and now Riley Martin coming after it as well. Lucas Height will take that away at about the 40-yard line and comes back to De La Cruz at midfield. And Grand Forks Red River goes right back on possession. They've been there basically the entire match early. Off the right side, Ethan Doctor running down the sideline. Short pass looking for Gannon Brooks. Broken up, sent back towards midfield. Long run to get back to it again for Doctor. He'll chest it down, comes back to the right, works around some defensive presence from Ethan Jablone, who's the forward tonight for Fargo South. And this will turn into a violation, maybe a handball against Red River. And Fargo South will have a free kick out in playable space. So the Bruins will kick it. Michelle Monger will send it out towards the midfield. And a collision there with a really good battle 2-on-2 on the right side. Mustafa Abdi puts a little contact in. He wants a call that he will not get. And the ball's battled for on the far sideline. Works back to Brendan Mullen up at the forward spot. Bishal Monger trying to hold it. This works back into the defensive core again. Taylor Labungo back. Will turn it to his goalkeeper, and Chesson Coleman's going to send it out towards the right sideline. A chance by Brendan Mullen to keep it in, and he does. Now Fargo South trying to get to work on a possession. Ethan Jablon in midfield, sending it up the far sideline. Good run going down the line for Philomore Ghebreyesus for Fargo South, but he loses the ball out of bounds. And Mustafa Abdi will throw it in for Red River. But if you're a Bruins fan, you're now on the Red River side of the field for the first time in a while as we work into the 5th minute of this matchup, still at 0-0. Ball on the far sideline. Abdi will send it up in the air. Ralsted with an angle getting back to it, and Fargo South simply playing for a throw in here as an attempt to get around the pressure on the right side by Brecken Short came up empty. The Bruins kind of shank him off the ball and will throw it in, but this one knocked away by a good play from Gannon Brooks at the midfield. It was a throw in, and Brooks was the first person there. And South has looked a little unsure of itself since getting possession of the ball here. Sujan Gale comes out towards the right side, sends it out to middle. Riley Martin, good run. Coming right side, he had Philomore Ghebreyesus, and Ghebreyesus couldn't quite get to the ball. That was a good run down the near sideline, and Ghebreyesus had some room to operate. That one less defender for Grand Forks Red River came back as a bit of an issue there as Red River gave up some space and had an opening for Ghebreyesus to work with, but in the end, he was unable to possess it cleanly. Ball back to midfield off the throw-in. Ram Thong coming out towards the right side. Brooks took that away. Brooks has got people in front, makes the long pass to Brecken Short. This will be kicked to open space up in the far corner, but a good run by Chesson Coleman out of the box to take care of this for Fargo South, and the goalkeeper looks to distribute for the Bruins. He'll go to the drop kick off the right foot. This is out in the center circle. Headed down by Dilson Garung. He'll come back to the right side for Mustafa Abdi. Out in the middle, a collision that sends Brecken Short to the turf. Ball comes out right side for Charlie Larson of Fargo South. He looks up the field, trying to find Riley Martin. Broken up, sent back towards the far sideline where Red River is, and this will turn to a throw-in for the Bruins. They want to work quickly. They get it back out on the far sideline, off the chest of Ethan Doctor for Red River. He plays it back towards Mullen. This will be out off of the Bruins, and now Red River will have a throw-in near midfield. Still no score. We come back to the middle. A battle for control as Mullen comes up with it and then has a one-on-one battle there with Sujan Gale. Gale ends up losing the ball out of bounds again right around midfield. This may have been actually a handball, it looks like, and Red River's going to have a free kick out in playable territory on the far sideline. Dilson Garung will put the foot into it. This is just a step across the midfield stripe. Garung with the left foot comes up short on it, tries to play it out to Jacob Voracek in the midfield for Red River. To Dela Cruz on the near side, retreating a little bit from some pressure from Riley Martin. Comes back to the right for Garung. Loose out of midfield for South. Sujan Gale with a touch. Back to Jager Wallstead looking for some support out of the defensive core to keep the play under control. Dela Cruz took that away. Comes back to middle. Good lunge by Gannon Brooks to get to this. Leaves it out in the middle of the field. Battle for control there. And a left foot from Brecken Short will send this beyond the far corner and out of bounds in South territory. And Chesson Coleman, the goalkeeper for the Bruins, will go back and get the next ball to put in play. We're down to through the 7th minute, moving into the 8th minute of the matchup. And Jager Wallstead, a defender, is going to step into it right on top of the goalkeeper's box. Sends it out towards the right side of the field. I'm not sure if anyone made contact with it. It doesn't look like the ruling was anyone did. Ends up out off of Fargo South. Red River with the throw-in. Ball will come over Mustafa Abdi. He got a foot on it. Comes back to middle. Taken up there by Sujan Gale, trying to transition. Loose out at midfield for Brecken Short. Short's got run. To the right side, he's got Abdi and Brendan Mullen there. Big sliding play by Chesson Coleman to come out of the goalkeeper's box and save that play. Both Mustafa Abdi and Brendan Mullen were closing in on the ball with no defenders between themselves and the goal. And it was up to Chesson Coleman to make a good read on that play. He did, goes to a slide to get there a bit quicker, and just takes the ball away from the two Rough Riders looking for an early score. Ball out to midfield off of Fargo South, put beyond the far line, and Mustafa Abdi will track it down on the far side of the track and get the ball back into playable territory. Red River and Fargo South, no score as we move into the 9th minute of action here in the opening half. But Red River's had plenty of opportunities. Their offensive pressure has been very good. They were looking to make perhaps a couple of changes, a wrinkle or two here, and it's been successful tonight. Dela Cruz coming to a stop. He had the ball taken away by Philomore Ghebreyesus. He's got to run down the right sideline against Dela Cruz. Ghebreyesus a stop and a turn. Dela Cruz took the inside track, took him off the ball. Good defensive play, man-to-man in that situation for Dela Cruz. And he comes back with possession. Brecken Short will turn, transitions the ball back to midfield. Mullen trying to run it down, but this will be sent out by Philomore Ghebreyesus to the far line. South trying to run this down. They do. Charlie Larson coming back to midfield with the ball. Found Ram Thong coming up the sideline. Larson back. They go to the middle. Little chip shot from Ethan Jablon, the forward, trying to get the ball up into an offensive look. It's sent beyond the goal line. Mustafa Abdi will track it down, and Red River will go back to work with a free kick. The Rough Riders will put it on top of the goalie's box. And now Red River will have one of their defenders getting rid of the ball here in this situation. Looks to be Morgan Hoffs that will put a foot into it. Off the surface, this goes about 5 yards beyond midfield. Lucas Height gets run into by Sushan Gale. Height goes down, is quickly back up with the ball to Riley Martin for Fargo South. Back to Philomore Ghebreyesus, cut off by Dela Cruz. And the ball will trickle beyond the Red River goal line. And we're going to see another play-in for Grand Forks Red River. So lately, Fargo South finding some opportunities. It looks like the Bruins took some time to really get themselves into the match. And then after they did, they've been able to sort of equal Grand Forks Red River's pressure. The first few minutes of this really belonged to the Rough Riders. Some interesting plays early. And now Fargo South trying to play a little bit more even. Dela Cruz off the left side, coming up the field for Red River with control of the ball. To Dilson Garung at midfield. Sujan Gale steps in front of him, leaves it out for Ghebreyesus in the right corner. And a long run for Matt Scribner, who's the goalkeeper. He was keeping an eye on Morgan Hoffs as to who would take control of that ball. And in the long run, it'll be Scribner that comes out with a running drop kick back towards midfield. Brecken Short takes a shove in the back. That time from Jager Wallstead. Little run out in front, and here's an opportunity for South. Jager Wallstead, actually correction, Riley Martin getting free. Dela Cruz stepped in front of Riley Martin, ends up going down, but the play causes Martin to lose the ball beyond the goal line, and Red River comes up with a big defensive effort from Dela Cruz to keep Fargo South away from one of their better opportunities so far tonight. Morgan Hoffs will kick it away for Grand Forks Red River just outside the goalkeeper's box on the left side of the field. Little spin into this, spins it back out to midfield. Sujan Gale will head it back into his own defensive core. Brendan Mullen trying to outrun the defense of Jager Wallstead. Got loose in the corner, but Sujan Gale comes away with it for Fargo South. To the middle for Riley Martin, cut off by Dilson Garung. He'll go back to Dela Cruz for Grand Forks Red River, who looks to open up the middle. Comes back to the middle and was able to find Jacob Voracek for Red River. This loose right around midfield. Gale with a header over Gannon Brooks. Ball knocked down left side, taken up by Ram Thong, looking to transition to the right side. He wanted Charlie Larson. It's cut off well, and a good play that time from Voracek. Comes out towards the far side of the field. Run for Gale. Mustafa Abdi comes in, cuts him off. Ball knocked free. Gets into the corner. South still with it. A deflection that comes off the foot of Hoffs. Goes loose to Gannon Brooks on the right sideline. Another big play by Ram Thong to knock this out of bounds off the chest. But a pretty good set of pressure from Fargo South to kind of get Red River on their heels a bit. Sujan Gale had more of the best run on that. And you saw Ram Thong coming into it a little bit as well, but they shook off some contact from Grand Forks Red River's defenders, and they were still able to make something happen despite the sliding tackle opportunity from the Riders trying to knock the ball away. Morgan Hoffs back in his own end, coming out to Dela Cruz on the near side. 0-0. We're into the 14th minute of the matchup. 13th minute of the matchup. Ghebreyesus knocking the ball loose. Behind it, Hoffs sitting it up the field. And we'll see Wallstead trying to run it down for Fargo South. Lucas Height comes in, takes it away, turns it back to the forward Brecken Short. Crosser towards the middle for Gannon Brooks, knocked in the air. A header by Height keeps it close. Another header coming from Fargo South, Taylor Labungo, where their defenders haven't really touched the ball a lot lately. Labungo sent it back towards middle, and Chesson Coleman comes out with a possession. The goalkeeper for South will redirect the next play. Coleman taking a look, puts a foot into one on a drop kick and sends this one towards the far sideline. He hit that one a little badly. That ends up going out of bounds. And we'll see the Rough Riders having an opportunity to throw it back in. I want to thank our sponsors for bringing this to us here tonight on KNOX. And this year, an opportunity to get into some interesting sports opportunities early with the different schedule changes that have come around. We have an opportunity to bring you some things like high school soccer. We're looking forward to doing more of that. We have more coming up next week. Our broadcast brought to you tonight commercial-free during playable time by Franson Bank and Trust, by New Vision Truck and Accessories, also by Lake Region State College in Devils Lake and Atlas Auto in Grand Forks. Also brought to you tonight by RBB Electric, Applegreen Construction, and Lithia Toyota of Grand Forks. More from our sponsors throughout the course of the night tonight. Brendan Mullen taken down on the far side of the field. No call as of yet from an official. Ball ends up beyond the bar sideline and Red River's bench. And we'll see something being signaled for by an official. Maybe a free kick coming up? No, we're going to have a substitution situation here for Grand Forks Red River. So the Riders will send in Adirahman Ali, who we saw play a little bit last time we were here. Also Grant Lelm, who was the starter defensively in the last matchup for Grand Forks Red River that we saw. So Abdirahman Ali and Grant Lelm coming into the matchup. Dilson Garong looking to lead it up the field, trying to find Ali. Battle here, Brecken Short trying to keep it in playable territory with his left foot, but sends it out of bounds, and Fargo South will have a throw-in coming up out of their own end. The match into its 15th minute of the opening half, and a 0-0, our current score here at Cushman Field. Red River opening things up early offensively. They were able to get some things done. Fargo South has been rallying as of late, each team with a couple of decent opportunities early. Red River had the most threatening opportunities earlier in the matchup. Gage Zimmerman throws it in. Gannon Brooks takes it away, makes a great crossing pass to Mustafa Abdi, and now breaking that up with a run towards the far corner is Mo Duradian, who comes into the matchup as a sub during that last substitution. And he made his way in, had an opportunity to try to attack the middle on a good pass from Mustafa Abdi. Came up just a little bit short, losing that ball out of bounds. And the throw-in will come from Red River, knocked out of bounds by Fargo South. It goes towards the middle for Brecken Short. Short gets into a battle there with Sujan Gale. Gale tried to leave it up the field. He was trying for a long run from Ethan Jablone, the forward, but no chance to get it there. He was cut off well by Morgan Hoffs defensively. Scribner in his own goalkeeper's box to Dilson Garung, a midfield. Great pass between a couple of defenders to find forward Brecken Short. And Short made another good pass as well, trying to find Abdirahman Ali. Ball goes loose, and Doradian came up with a touch out at midfield for Red River. Back to Dilson Garung. Gannon Brooks coming out near side. Brooks trying to run down the sideline. Great stop. Turns and reverses his field. Makes a great crosser with a bit of spin out towards the middle of the field, trying to find an angle. Grant Lelm was there for some pressure. A reach across by Garong. Got away with some contact. South wanted a call that they didn't get. And now we'll see it returned as Lelm goes down after some contact being thrown in by Taylor Labungo. So the teams are trading some physical play out at midfield. No call either way as of yet. Charlie Larson trying to come away with possession. Founds Ethan Jablone. Jablone trying to work up the field, but that one was cut off on the right side by Ethan Doctor. And Doctor turned it back to Mustafa Abdi at midfield. Collision there. Free ball at midfield again. Dela Cruz sets it down. Sujan Gale cut it off for Fargo South. Then he has it defended away from Gannon Brooks at midfield. Brooks, another quick stop to Garung, right on the midfield stripe. Turns it back into his defensive core for Morgan Hoffs. And now we see Doctor trying to take control as well. South continues to extend a little bit of extra pressure now. They're not letting Red River's defensive core really play as freely with the ball as they did early, and they're getting a few more possessions out of it. Ball right side for Philomore Ghebreyesus. Ghebreyesus comes to a stop, a little short on the run type of pass to Riley Martin, splitting a pair of Red River defenders. And Dilson Garung trying to knock it free, ends up losing the ball out of bounds. And it will go back to Fargo South for a throw-in. The Bruins will throw it in as the match moves into its 18th minute. And your score remains 0-0, each team with a couple of opportunities early. And so far, I don't know that we've had a goalie save in this one as of yet. The goalkeepers have been in a situation where they've been able to come out and attack the ball, haven't really faced a lot of shots, if you will. Ball to Mustafa Abdi over in the far corner for Red River, trying to play it free. Touched up last by Ethan Doctor and out of bounds beyond the goal line. This may be a corner kick for Fargo South and a big opportunity for the Bruins if they do get one. It looks like they will, or will they after all? Yes, they will. Ball will be sent over by Doctor to the corner. And Fargo South is going to come up with a corner opportunity, a set piece. They'll be looking for a piece of production here. It'll be Philomore Ghebreyesus that goes into the right corner to kick it away. A crosser out on the top of the goalie box, knocked down, but Scribner's there to come up with a big stop for Grand Forks Red River. There was a good play. Great corner kick on the crosser, and the Bruins had a couple of men there to attack with only Scribner between the ball and the goal line, but Matt Scribner made a great read and came out and cut off the play before it could go any further. Gannon Brooks, great pass to the near side for Abdirahman Ali. Ali trying to rescue the ball before it ends up out of bounds, and he couldn't quite play it cleanly. It ends up beyond the near sideline, and we'll see Fargo South taking control in their own end. It was a great pass to Abdirahman Ali on the near side. If he would have been able to control it, he might have had an opportunity to make a run towards the goal. Jager Wallstead sends it back out to middle. Dilson Garung cuts it down on the left side. Red River moving from right to left here in this opening half. Back to Doctor at midfield for the Riders. Doctor trailing off, dribbling to the right side for Mustaf Abdi. Abdi reversing back to his left and comes to Dilson Garung at midfield. Now Angel De La Cruz on the left side. De La Cruz trying to put one up in play and ends up sending it right up into the chest of Sujan Gale. Philomore Ghebreyesus that ends up out of bounds, and the Rough Riders will have a throw in front of the Fargo South bench. As the Bruins make a substitution as well, Charlie Metzger, a midfielder who's just an 8th grader for the Fargo South Bruins up on the varsity, will step in. There was no junior varsity matchup tonight, in part because of a numbers issue for Fargo South. Apparently they have some injuries that they've had to deal with. And because of the injuries in their junior varsity, really with a freshman, another freshman, 3 8th graders and sophomores, they're struggling with some numbers, so playing just a varsity match tonight. Gannon Brooks, good play to Lucas Height, splitting defenders. Height down, looking for a left-handed chance or a left-footed chance, and was unable to come away with anything clean. A good opportunity, good run, but Taylor Labungo will break it up for Fargo South and sends it back up into the Grand Forks Red River backfield. Philomore Ghebreyesus with a chance. Trying to get through the defenders, and the defensive core forms up rather quickly. Morgan Hoffs to the near edge for Angel De La Cruz. De La Cruz with a stop, pulling the ball back towards midfield. Sends it back to Morgan Hoffs, who splits a couple of defenders. Tried to look up for Brecken Short, who's back in the matchup. That one was taken away. Ram Thong for Fargo South. Loses again. Brooks, great pass to Lucas Height. Height on the run, and Chesson Coleman comes out of the goalie box, makes a slide, and takes the ball away from Lucas Height. Lucas Height has just been so opportunistic in these matchups. We saw him with Angel De La Cruz against Grand Forks Central. They were really finding opportunities to run together in the second half of that matchup, and that time Lucas Height had a great run going between defenders, and the Riders found him. And Chesson Coleman just an extra step out, and now here comes Lucas Height again running around the defense, trying to dribble free of a defender. He gets knocked down. We're going to see a whistle, and we're going to see perhaps either a penalty kick or we're going to see a yellow card. So a yellow card is going to be issued against Fargo South's Taylor Labungo. Labungo ended up in a collision with Lucas Height trying to get free, and Labungo is going to come to the sideline for Fargo South, and now we'll see Red River with a free kick that will come about 13 yards, well, I should say rather 23 yards out, right at the top of the big box. We're going to see Gannon Brooks making the free kick and a set-piece opportunity for Grand Forks Red River as we roll into the 21st minute of the matchup. This will come from the left side of the field. Red River will line up with a half a dozen players right on top of the goalie box for the free kick, and Brooks has an opportunity here to go for it himself or to put it in play for his team. Brooks is going to put one through on the ground, and it gets deflected out by the Fargo South defense. Not a lot done in that situation with the set piece that they worked so hard to get, and Charlie Metzger ends up clearing the ball, the 8th grader that just stepped in defensively for Fargo South. Another kick to the near side, a long run, but it looks like the ball will trickle out of bounds before Lucas Height can get there. Height with those long strides trying to catch up to the ball many, many times. He's been able to split some defenders a couple of times and just has not been able to find the right matchup to come up with control. They're asking for the clock, I believe, to be reset in this situation. I'm not exactly sure why, but they want it set to 18 minutes and 47 seconds. So that would put us in the 22nd minute of the matchup. We heard the official. I'm not sure what the official was looking for as far as the clock being stopped. It may have been stopped momentarily when perhaps it wasn't supposed to be. Jager Wallstead with the ball for Fargo South. Ricochets one to Philomore Ghebreyesus, who couldn't control it. Gannon Brooks sends it back to his own defensive core. Metzger's there for Fargo South to cut it off. And now works out towards the right side, where you'll see Ethan Doctor go to work for the Rough Riders. Back in their defensive core. Still 0-0. Red River and Fargo South on the Hugo's Low scoreboard. A chance to cut through the defense. That's headed away by Sujan Gale. Ball goes loose. Riders trying to get to it again. Gale comes up with a touch. Comes back out towards the right side. Now has it back. Gale will turn it back into his defensive core. And Bishop Monger with a touch for Fargo South. This is left up on a free ball right in the middle in the air. Gannon Brooks heading it back towards the south goal. Got it back to him. Made another kick on it. And then Bishop Monger will end up turning and kicking it beyond the far sideline. And Red River will have a throw-in coming up on Red River side of the field. Our match is brought to you during playable time tonight, commercial-free by Spray Advantage, PS Garage Doors, Lithia Chrysler Jeep Dodge, Abra Auto Body and Glass, Perkins Family Restaurant, Hugo's Marketplace, and Chris Moen of Nodak Insurance. They bring you coverage of Rough Riders soccer tonight here in the Franson Bank and Trust New Vision Truck and Accessory Sports Network. No score here at Cushman Field between Fargo South and Grand Forks Red River in a pivotal matchup in the Eastern Dakota Conference tonight. Ball on the right side of the field, a turn by Ethan Doctor trying to get free, leaves it up, and Brendan Mullen was there, but if I recognize that, that would have been an offside call coming up against Red River, and Fargo South will end up with possession on a free play with a clock into the 24th minute of the opening half. And we'll see Jager Ralstead bringing the ball out to make the kick of it. He'll send it out towards midfield, left up in the air right side. Metzger coming over for it for Fargo South, was able to get a touch on it. And Philomore Ghebreyesus playing it off his chest back to the far sideline. This will be sent out of bounds. We'll see what the call is going to be. Touched up last apparently by Mustafa Abdi. Abdi continues to argue his case. And we're waiting for a substitution here for Fargo South, it looks like. And the Bruins will send Pasquale Smith, a sophomore midfielder, into the matchup. Smith will come onto the field, and Smith will replace Charlie Larson. So Larson will come off, and Pasquale Smith will go in. And Taylor Labungo will come back into the matchup. Correction, that was not Pasquale Smith. Apologies. He was wearing one of those, I guess you could say, warm-up uniforms. They've got some extra colors on the sideline. I'm not sure what those represent, but he was wearing number 22. That was actually number 6 that came in. So Taylor Labungo is back into the matchup for Fargo South. Ball ends up on the Red River side after the throw-in. Angel De La Cruz looking up the field, comes back to the middle trying to find a play with Jacob Voracek. Voracek knocks the ball to Gannon Brooks on the right side. Brooks coming over towards the right, trying to find some space against the defense of Bishop Monger way up to pressure him. A little bit of a change here from Fargo South as well. They're playing with a couple of defenders way up on Red River side, trying to produce a little extra opportunity of their own. So mixing and matching perhaps going on here at this point in the matchup. Looking for offense. Morgan Hoff's phone in for Red River on a free ball. Ball goes back to Doctor. Middle again. This is Voracek making a run. He's got some room to operate. Leaves this out towards the far corner of the field. Good defensive play by Gage Zimmerman. He just came out and cut off Adiraman Ali making a run to the ball, who had some room to operate with. Again, the ball goes loose to De La Cruz. Here's Abdi. Abdi, a little chip shot, and he was miscommunicating that time with Brendan Mullen. He thought Mullen was going to make a run through defenders, made a little chip pass, but Mullen went to the far side of the field, and the ball ends up going behind him. Bit of an opportunity there for Red River that comes up empty. Gannon Brooks back at the middle after a kick that time from Chesson Coleman, the goalkeeper for the Bruins. Off to the right, little crosser. Brendan Mullen with a chance there. Ralstead got back to defend it for Fargo South. Ball goes loose. Long-range kick that will go beyond the goal line. Just taking a shot from long range, Jacob Voracek. Didn't have much working on the right side of the field. He thought he had an opening through the middle, so he took a shot at the net from about 20, perhaps 30 yards out, and ends up just leaving it long left. We'll see some changes. Grand Forks Red River will send Derek Chaves into the matchup, a senior defender. Derek Chaves came in about this time against Grand Forks Central in the matchup with the Knights a week ago and really had a nice game defensively for the Rough Riders. Kick comes away from Jager Ralstead for Fargo South. Loose in the middle. Voracek trying to control the ball. Ram Thong had a chance with it, but I believe they're going to call a handball against the Bruins, and Red River is going to have a free kick. The Riders will have the kick just their side of midfield on the far edge, And the free kick will be made by Morgan Hoffs. He goes short with it after a bluff comes off right side for Dilson Garung. Garung a little crosser into traffic about 30 yards away from the Fargo South net. Ball goes loose to center. It's be played on the right side by Sujan Gale. He tried to get a run started up front. No one home. Back to Gannon Brooks, who's running free in the midfield for Grand Forks Red River. Back to Sujan Gale on the right. Now a run for Bishop Monger, trying to transition back up. Again, Bishop Monger has been a defender that's played way up on the Grand Forks side of the field here for about the past 5 or 6 minutes of the matchup. Little takeaway by Philomore Gabreas. He saw a chance on a mishandled ball from Angel De La Cruz to try to get up the field and run. Ball ends up going out of bounds off of Gabreas. He couldn't handle it cleanly, and Derek Chaves will throw it in for the Rough Riders on the near sideline. We're down into the 27th, now the 28th minute of the matchup here in the opening half, and we're scoreless between Red River and Fargo South. Brendan Mullen trying to get free, ends up losing a ball on the far sideline, and this will be thrown in by Bishop Monger and the Fargo South Bruins. Monger ends up losing it beyond the sideline. Looks like this will go right back to a throw-in for Grand Forks Red River, and the throw-in will come from Ethan Doctor for the Rough Riders, and this will be brought all the way back into the south end. Right around the 40-yard line on the football field, so about 50 yards away. They'll turn it back to midfield instead to try to set up the play. The ball's back with Morgan Hoffs in the midfield. Hoffs a stop to Dilson Garung on the right side. Sees a couple of defenders coming at him. Splits them with a little left-footed kick. Found Gannon Brooks on the right sideline. Brooks plays it back into his defensive play. And Red River trying to control a little bit of space and time here and look for a clean opportunity. Chaves heads one down, comes back to Garung at midfield. Some ball control, some nifty dribbling, making a turn to try to get around defensive pressure. Lucas Height had a chance, but he was pressured by Jager Wallstead from behind. This ball ends up out of bounds. It'll be a throw-in for Red River. But back on their side of midfield, the clock dwindling down into the 28th minute, now the 29th minute of the opening half. Ball back out towards midfield, cut off along the near sideline. Philomore Gabreas trying to run around defensive traffic, kind of a one-man-only play. Morgan Hoffs comes over to cut him off after Derek Chaves had played him down towards the line. And we'll see a ball knocked beyond the goal line. It looks like they'll rule off of Gabreas, and Grand Forks Red River will have a free play out of their own end. You can hear the substitution in the background. Charlie Larson comes back in for Fargo South. Ball comes out to Dilson Garung on the right side. Back to the middle for Ethan Doctor. And now off to the right, Morgan Hoffs looking for an opening. That's cut off on the far side by Ram Thong. He'll push it deep into Red River territory for the Bruins. Ball gets thrown, or actually kicked out of there by, I believe, Ethan Doctor. Ball loose. Doctor lost one here. A quick crosser and a score for Fargo South. But they may not count the goal. Let's wait and see if they do. It's not on the board as of yet. And they may have ruled a violation on perhaps a handball against Fargo South, and it looks like they did. That was a great run by Bishop Monger, who got loose and made the chip shot goal around Matt Scribner, but the goal will not be allowed. A violation against Fargo South that will not put it on the board. And so Red River escapes, still in a 0-0 matchup, as Fargo South looked to score the first tally of the night. Ball gets knocked around the near sideline. The Red River crowd wants a handball here, as Charlie Larson would come up off the hand, but they'll play through that. Dilson Garung splitting a couple of defenders, making the long pass to Lucas Height, who tried to get on the run. Couldn't catch up to the ball, and Chesson Coleman will come out of the goal box and put his hands on that one to transition it back for Fargo South. So a goal not allowed on a violation by Fargo South as we're into the final 10 minutes of the opening half, now the 31st minute. And a ball out of bounds off of the Bruins will give it back to Grand Forks Red River. Our match brought to you commercial-free and playable time tonight by Finest Auto Trim, by Acme Equipment, by West Metro Buick GMC of Monticello, by East Grand Forks Dairy Queen, Phil Thompson and Associates, also by Jarrell Sports Center, the Golf Center, Farmers Union Insurance, Aaron Dunphy, your agent, and Express Auto Glass and Repair, all bringing you Rough Rider Soccer tonight, commercial-free here on KNOX. Ball back in the midfield off of a kick by the Rough Riders, and it's knocked down by Sujan Gale for Fargo South. Gale up the near sideline, lost it behind him. Dilson Garung coming over to cut it off. Ball loose near side. Quick header from Brecken Short to send it back to the middle. Now the ball back into Red River territory. Hoffs takes it down out of the defensive backfield. Good play to step around a defender by Jacob Voracek. He dribbles up the field, trying to find a little crosser pass for De La Cruz. Wallstead was there. They were double-teaming De La Cruz getting down to the corner. De La Cruz making a good athletic run into the corner of the near side of the field. And he had two defenders there to stick with him, and Jager Wallstead ends up knocking it out of bounds for Fargo South. Throw in coming in from Brecken short. He sent it towards the goal. Knocked away from there. Dilson Garung trying to put some control on it. This will be kicked out by Philomore Ghebreyesus and sent back out to midfield. Morgan Hoffs puts it in the air. Ralstead knocks it down with a header, and we'll see a whistle in the middle of the field. And Fargo South will have a free kick of it. Ralstead will transition it back up the field. Lost the ball, however, to Ethan Doctor of Grand Forks Red River. Doctor pushing it up the far sideline, trying to get a little 2-on-2 play going with Mo Dorodian, and ends up sending it back out to the top of the box. A chip shot by Gannon Brooks, just trying to put something towards the net. Ends up being knocked down in the process and didn't get a lot on the ball. Chesson Coleman comes over to cut it off for the Bruins. And Coleman will send it back into play with a left-footed, rather right-footed drop kick. This one looping towards midfield. Garung trying to get a header on it. Ends up taking it off the small of the back and a trip out at midfield as Lucas Height put a foot across the path of Bishop Monger and took him down. And Fargo South will have a free kick right around midfield. We move our way into the 33rd minute of this opening half. No score. Fargo South has found the net, but the goal was disallowed due to a violation by the Bruins on the run. And a long shot that's gloved up nicely by Matt Scribner coming out of the box to take one away off of the free kick that was tried by Bishop Monger. It stayed in the air quite a while. He was looking for a little help coming in over the top, but read well by Scribner, and he ends up booting it out of play. Derek Chaves will send it beyond the near sideline. And Fargo South will play it in. The Bruins will have Gage Zimmerman with a throw-in at midfield. And Ethan Jablone, their lone forward, will come into the matchup tonight for the Bruins once again after being subbed out earlier in the matchup. Throw-in comes to the near sideline. It'll be deflected out of bounds quickly by Gannon Brooks, just stepping in front of Sujan Gale to knock it away. And we'll see a throw-in coming in from Gage Zimmerman for the Bruins. Zimmerman sends it off towards the near side. Some more contact, that time against Philomore Ghebreyesus, but Ghebreyesus looking for a call he won't get. Red River will throw it in. De La Cruz coming back towards the near sideline for Brecken short, broken up by Sujan Gale of Fargo South and knocked out of bounds. Riders over to get it. Derek Chaves will throw it in for Red River. Chaves taking a look towards midfield, headed by Brecken short. Ralstead knocking it down for the Bruins and comes back towards midfield, taken up by Ram Thong for Fargo South. Rejoining the play, Dilson Garung, but he's knocked off the spot by Philomore Ghebreyesus. Ghebreyesus tries to pull it through a pair of defenders, and the defender is able to hold their ground. Doctor knocked it loose, body into the back of Red River's Mo Doradian off the far sideline. He's able to come up with control. Now a long pass off towards the right side, able to find a streak from Bishop Monger, but ball knocked free. He may have got some help. That was Monger playing up into the play for Fargo South. Lucas Height trying to take it out of the defensive backfield, was losing the ball out of bounds and sent it back towards the middle. Bruins able to come back to it. Monger on the right, working back towards the middle of the field. Ethan Jablone out of the forward position, comes back to Ralstead in the defensive side. Little play for Ram Thong on the sideline. Lucas Height kind of running some circles right now, coming after the ball from a few different directions, and he's transitioning the ball up the right sideline. A couple of minutes of some pretty good running here for Lucas Height. He sends it back into the defensive core, played away by Ethan Doctor for Red River. Long pass, Doctor had De La Cruz, but that one's cut off. Gage Zimmerman read the route pretty well and stepped in front of De La Cruz to take the ball away, and it's chipped up the field by Charlie Larson. Derek Chaves of Red River coming back for it. Larson ends up being, or actually outruns Derek Chaves, but to the boundary. Chaves did a nice job with his body to force Larson out of bounds. It's a throw-in for Grand Forks Red River. Gannon Brooks out at midfield, working off towards the near side, eyeing De La Cruz up the field. No chance to find him on the side. Tries to put it up in the air. That's headed out by Zimmerman for Fargo South. Back to Brooks in the middle. Brooks put it down. Zimmerman chips it back to midfield. Dilson Garung will control it. Works back towards the left side and sends it back to Derek Chaves as we're in the 36th minute of the opening half, and pace beginning to pick up a little bit as Red River trying to put on some final pressure with the opening minutes of this first half running away. Ball off the right side. Bishop Monger getting to it for Fargo South, loses the ball out of bounds. The Bruins will give it back to Red River, and the Riders will throw it in. Mustafa Abdi comes back into the matchup for Red River. And Mustafa Abdi is one of those players they want to have out there more often than not. He's going to come in for the final push here, rested, and ready to go for 4 minutes of trying to run and find an opportunity to score for Red River. Long pass. They're able to come upfield with Angel De La Cruz. De La Cruz off the left. We see a whistle. And they may have called an offside call against De La Cruz. Flag was up on the far sideline. And so the ball's going back to Fargo South. Good pass to De La Cruz. It didn't look like he had gained ground ahead of that previous defender. But the call is that he did, and so Fargo South will end up taking the ball back on a free play, and Jager Wallstead will play it up the field with a free kick. He'll just chip it out near side for Gage Zimmerman, back to Ralsted. Ralsted has some pressure coming at him from Brecken Short and De La Cruz. He'll send it back to his goalkeeper, Chesson Coleman, sending it out near side. Ralsted having a hard time controlling a ball up in the air. He's going to lose it beyond the goal line, and Red River's going to have an opportunity at a set piece here before we go to halftime. The clock will tick into the 38th minute of the opening half, but Red River will have a chance at a corner kick. Trying to put the first goal on the board, 0-0 on the Hugo's Low scoreboard between Fargo South and Grand Forks Red River. The Riders with a corner. Onto the corner, the ball booted towards the far side post. It's headed back towards the middle, and Chesson Coleman laying out in front of a run that was right there from Brecken Short. He dives out towards the field to take that ball in the chest and arms and take a chance away from Grand Forks Red River. Short was there, but no opportunity as Chesson Coleman cut him off on a pretty good play by the Fargo South goalkeeper. Dilson Garung playing towards the near sideline. De La Cruz trying to play free with it. Sujan Gale got in front of him. Then De La Cruz went down on a sliding tackle, took Gale down. Each crowd was looking for a violation, and neither crowd got one. Ball to Mustafa Abdi on the far side. This gets off the foot of Ram Thong for Fargo South. Red River trying to make a run of it. It'll be cut off in the middle, chipped up in the air by Jacob Voracek towards Fargo South side of the field. Ram Thong again a touch out at middle for the Bruins. A run to get to it for Philomore Ghebreyesus. He came up a little empty. Ball taken out in midfield by Jacob Voracek. The run right side, Mustafa Abdi looking for a crosser. Abdi with the crosser towards the right post, and Chesson Coleman with a diving stop from Abdi trying to close in on a short-sighted opportunity. Coleman will throw it out, back out to around midfield, and off the head of Ram Thong. Fargo South trying to pick up the advantage. Match into its 39th minute of play, and the ball ends up out of bounds off of Red River. Fargo South will have it back. Bruins will get one more possession here. Red River very aggressive in the final few minutes of this opening half, and it's produced some opportunities. Not sure if the Riders would be able to really open up full throttle and go with this kind of pace for 40 full minutes. They've kind of had to manage their assets a little bit here, but they did a lot more of a wide open matchup in the second half against Central than they had in the first half, and here they've been sort of widening things out a little bit more early. They went full bore early, and really with a good stretch here in about the last 7 or 8 minutes of this opening half. Ball deflected loose off the right side. It'll be chipped up the field. A try, looking to get free on the right side, I believe was Badiraman Ali. Ball sent back up towards the middle. Actually, that is not Abdirahman Ali. That's Duradian that's coming up with control of the ball for Grand Forks Red River in the middle. Angel De La Cruz now stepping into the play. Charlie Larson takes it away from him. A chip by Zimmerman up towards the midfield. And a turn by Philomore Ghebreyesus that sent it back towards Red River side. Run down again by Doradian. Quick play up front. And De La Cruz open on the near side. De La Cruz at the short side on the left post, and that one just wide. Just wide on that play. Red River will get a corner out of it with only 10 seconds left to go. They're going to see that Coleman sent it beyond the goal line. Here's the crosser for Mustafa Abdi. A header out in the middle of the net. Clock running down, and that's going to be the end of the opening half. Red River trying to get going with that corner opportunity at the end of the first half of play. Couldn't quite get a good set piece in, but some really good runs by Red River at the end of the opening half. They come up just empty, and once again, the Fargo South defense run around a little bit, but the Bruins able to keep Red River off the scoreboard. And as we go to our halftime report, your score is 0-0 between Grand Forks Red River and Fargo South. Our halftime report tonight is brought to you by Applegren Construction, building homes around what truly matters. You can find them online at applegrenhomes.com. And Lithia Toyota, from our lot to your driveway, find a new vehicle in Grand Forks at Lithia Toyota. We'll take a look at what we have coming up for tomorrow, along with our future broadcast opportunities in just a couple of moments, and also kind of run around what we have as far as the Hugo's Low scoreboard in baseball tonight. As we continue from Cushman Field with Grand Forks Red River Rough Riders soccer, the Riders and the Bruins are tied 0-0 at halftime. And this is Rough Rider Soccer on the Franson Bank and Trust, New Vision Truck and Accessory Sports Network from KNOX.
This is High School Soccer on the Franson Bank and Trust New Vision Truck and Accessory Sport Network from KNOX.
Are you kidding me? While the kids in the neighborhood are practicing those home runs, you're now practicing some deep breathing while you stare at the baseball embedded into your windshield. Give Express Auto Glass a call and they'll knock it out of the park with your auto glass repair or replacement. Call 701-738-0750.
Precision Ag is an emerging occupation and a high-growth industry. Lake Region State College Precision Ag courses are designed to provide you with the skills, knowledge, and abilities to work in this field. The use of Precision Ag technology is a tool that allows farmers to work more efficiently. Therefore, there's a demand for trained support staff. The Dakota Precision Ag Center at Lake Region State College in Devils Lake is the place for that training. Visit lrsc.edu today.
Are you in the mood for a special treat? Something maybe a little sweet. That feeling you get when you start craving that perfect soft serve ice cream mixed with your favorite treats and blended to perfection. Nothing beats the taste of your favorite blizzard from East Grand Forks Dairy Queen. East Grand Forks Dairy Queen is committed to serving you even if it's through our drive-thru. Nothing warms your day faster than America's favorite frozen treat. Head on over to East Grand Forks Dairy Queen today. A house is made a home by the people and stories that take place inside. From watching Major League Baseball in the living room to after practice late night dinners in the kitchen, your home is the dugout where you celebrate with your team. When you're ready to build your next home, give Applegren a call and they'll give you a home run that'll last a lifetime. Applegren Construction, building homes around what truly matters.
When accidents happen, trust Abra Auto Body and Glass to get it fixed right the first time on time. Whether it's a paintless dent repair for those dings, dents, and hail damage, collision repair for a nasty rear ender, or glass repair for that pesky rock chip, you'll get the highest quality repairs at Abra Auto Body and Glass, 2151 32nd Avenue South, Grand Forks.
Are you paying too much for your auto insurance? You can have both a great rate and great service from Nodak Insurance Company. Call me, Chris Moen, at 757-1613. I know insurance, I know North Dakota, and I might even know you. Call me today for a competitive quote.
Welcome to the KNOX Halftime Show, brought to you by Applegren Construction, building homes around what truly matters. Find them online at applegrenhomes.com and Lithia Toyota, from our lot to your driveway.
Well, despite Grand Forks Red River perhaps having the better of it offensively here in the opening half, it was a Fargo South goal that was disallowed when Bishop Monger was offside. And that's the only ball to find its way to the net so far, although a couple of great opportunities at the end by Grand Forks Red River are turned aside. And a pivotal matchup in the Eastern Dakota Conference standings tonight is 0-0 at the end of the opening half between Grand Forks Red River and Fargo South. We welcome you back to Cushman Field. Our halftime report tonight is brought to you by Lithia Toyota, from our lot to your driveway. See what they have online with Lithia Toyota, and you have the opportunity to shop contactless or the opportunity to go right back to the dealership, which is something that you've always enjoyed. And the new line of Toyota products are something that you're going to want to take a good look at and take advantage of some opportunities with financing that don't come around very often. Lithia Toyota, from our lot to your driveway in Grand Forks. And Applegren Construction, building homes around what truly matters. You can find them online at applegrenhomes.com. The goal of new home ownership, the opportunity for you to own a home that no one else has ever lived in, and you take control of the project from start to finish. Not just how many bedrooms and how many square feet. We're talking about what goes into your home, like the flooring, the cabinetry, the utilities, everything that goes in far of the appliances that you want to take advantage of. The different types of lighting, all the accents to a home that make it truly yours. That's what Applegren Construction allows you to do. Find them online. Go check them out right now at applegrenhomes.com and see what it is that they can do for you. They bring you your halftime report here tonight as well. Again, some good opportunities for Grand Forks Red River, but the lone goal in the opening half came from Bishop Monger of Fargo South. However, the goal was disallowed on an offside call against Fargo South that took what was the only ball to find its way into the net in the opening half away. Grand Forks Red River with a couple of great opportunities late in the second half. Angel De La Cruz getting free on a run on the right. Mustafa Abdi going short side, and then another ball that was knocked free when De La Cruz got loose on a kick on the left side, again going short side, trying to attack and hit right around the post. Chesson Coleman came out, made a save on that, sent it beyond the goal line, and the Riders tried to get one more corner kick put together. Things really changed when Mustafa Abdi came back into the matchup. He was out for a while in the interior of the opening half, and when Abdi got back on the field, Red River found some new openings offensively, and we'll see if they can keep him going and keep him into a little bit more of an offensive flow. The first 4 or 5 minutes belonged to Red River as far as pressure. They put a lot of pressure on in the first 4 or 5 minutes, and then after Fargo South sort of settled in, it became more of a 50-50 type of a matchup where each team was in the other's end, but only for brief periods of time. Really some very good passing by Red River, trying to extend some longer plays, and that's one of the adjustments they made against Grand Forks Central a week ago when a matchup was 0-0 going into halftime. When they came out in the second half, they tried for some longer plays, tried to get things moving and tried to extend the field a little bit. They tried that in the first half tonight as well and had a little bit of success with it. I mean, not a ton of success, but a little bit. They were able to put some extra pressure on, and it led to some things breaking down for Fargo South's defense a bit later. The one big key that came out of the first half is Red River changing up their lineup tonight. They went with 3 defenders instead of 4 and added an extra forward to the mix so as to give 2 forwards and 5 midfielders the opportunity to kind of flex out some offense. And their defense really didn't break down against it. A couple of early breakdowns, and then after Red River sort of figured out how they were going to play defense with 3 back, they were able to figure it out and execute it quite well, and Fargo South didn't threaten a lot throughout the course of that first half. That was one of the adjustments Red River made. We knew they were making it. We wanted to see how it would play out, and Red River played pretty well defensively. But there is no score. Red River still looking for that offensive magic to get going, and after halftime, 0-0 between Grand Forks Red River and Fargo South, and that's the way our first half comes to a conclusion. Second half action is on the way. We're back out at Cushman Field tomorrow night for a football opener as well. We'll tell you more about that as we continue on the Applegren Construction Lithia Toyota halftime report here on KNOX's presentation of Red River Rough Rider Soccer. We'll continue with more in just a couple of moments. Do stay with us.
This is high school soccer on the Franson Bank and Trust New Vision Truck and Accessory Sport Network from KNOX.
Get the advantage. The Tri-Steel Advantage.
What is the Tri-Steel Advantage? The Tri-Steel Parts Department. Tri-Steel's extensive parts department carries the most respected names in power transmission, bearings, sprockets, gearboxes, pulleys, conveyor belting, and more. When it's parts you need, get the advantage. Tri-Steel Manufacturing, 3001 North Washington, Grand Forks, or online at tristeelmfg.com. The Tri-Steel Advantage.
Get the advantage. The Tri-Steel Advantage.
Are you looking to buy or sell your American Crystal sugar beet stock? We can help. Hello, this is Chris Griffin with Red River Land Company, and myself and John Botsford have been matching the beet stock buyer and seller for over 20 years. We offer professional assistance with the sale and transfer of your American Crystal shares. John Botsford is the leader in helping create the marketplace for this industry. If you have beet stock to sell or are a shareholder looking for a grower, go to our website at redriverlandco.com to set up a meeting with us. Red River Land Company, your trusted name in beet stock sales and in farm real estate.
Are you in the mood for a special treat? Something maybe a little sweet. That feeling you get when you start craving that perfect soft serve ice cream mixed with your favorite treats and blended to perfection. Nothing beats the taste of your favorite blizzard from East Grand Forks Dairy Queen. East Grand Forks Dairy Queen is committed to serving you even if it's through our drive-thru. Nothing warms your day faster than America's favorite frozen treat. Head on over to East Grand Forks Dairy Queen today.
Are you kidding me? While the kids in the neighborhood are practicing those home runs, you're now practicing some deep breathing while you stare at the baseball embedded into your windshield. Give Express Auto Glass a call and they'll knock it out of the park with your auto glass repair or replacement. Call 701-738-0750.
This is the KNOX halftime show driven by Lithia Toyota. From our lot to your driveway, and Applegren Construction, building homes around what truly matters.
Applegren Construction, Lithia Toyota halftime report concluding here at Cushman Field. We have no score. On our Hugo's Low scoreboard, 0-0 between the Bruins and the Rough Riders as we get ready for second half action. Fargo South will move from right to left in this second half, left to right for Grand Forks Red River. The Riders with some great opportunities late in that opening half. Fargo South able to perhaps have just a bit of an advantage in the interior of the first half, but the bookends, both the early portion and late portion, saw Red River open up some things offensively. And we'll see now if the Riders can start back on that path to begin the second half. But there are three crucial points in the league tonight that are on the line in this one this evening. I mean, that can't be overstated. Fargo South, Red River, along with Cheyenne, West Fargo High, and Davies. There are 5 teams there for 4 spots in the state tournament. And this one could go a long way towards determining what postseason looks like for both of these teams. So this second half could have some ramifications all the way through the remainder of the high school soccer season. Red River putting some pressure on immediately off the kickoff that goes to Fargo South, but Gannon Brooks taking one away from Sujan Gale. The balls are going beyond the far sideline, and you can tell Red River's got a little bit of pep and momentum here. Even early off these opening steps of this second half, Derek Chaves throwing one in after the throw-in, and he's pressured a bit on the far side by Rom Thong that will push the ball out of bounds. Ball comes over on the far sideline. Gale looking for the throw-in for South. It comes up to Thong. Off the right side, Charlie Larson trying to get free, defended out of bounds again. And defended out of bounds by Brendan Mullen for Grand Forks Red River. The rain has stayed away for the most part. We see a couple of umbrellas out there for a while. The rain came down right at the beginning of the matchup. It never really became too intense here, so it's been a comfortable night. Derek Chaves will throw one in as South loses one beyond the far sideline. He finds Dilson Garung trying to turn against some pressure. Charlie Larson forces him back out of bounds. And Red River will once again throw the ball in. Ball to the right side. Gannon Brooks looking for control. Goes back over to the right edge. This time Jager Ralstead stepped in front of it. Dilson Garung trying to make a run on the right side against Philomore Gebreyesus. The ball will work out of bounds. Quick throw-in off the sideline again by Chaves. You can tell Red River's trying to beat Fargo South with some pace. They are not holding the ball on the sideline long. They may feel like they've got South a bit tired here, and so they're coming right at them. When the ball goes out of bounds, Red River's wasting no time. They're coming right at Fargo South to get to them. The throw-in on the right side of the field for Fargo South. We're waiting for that throw-in to happen. Charlie Larson will throw it in. This one ricochets off the foot of Angel De La Cruz. And so the Bruins will throw it in yet one more time, this time closing in on midfield. You can tell the Bruins are happy to play a pace that's a little bit slower here. Philomore Gebreyesus is trying to get free, but it looks like the game plan here for Fargo South to start the second half is just kind of control a little bit of time and space. They're more than happy to work with throw-ins. They're more than happy to just keep working the thing up the field, and they're not particularly concerned right now about really amping up the pace. Second half moving into its third minute, 0-0 on the Hugo's Low scoreboard. The opportunities have favored Red River so far tonight, but Fargo South with a goal that was disallowed on an offside call, and that's basically all that we've had so far as scoring in the matchup tonight. A kick by Derek Chaves to free a little bit of pressure coming from Rong Thong. Ball ends up out of bounds, and the Bruins will go over to track it down. Tomorrow night, high school football here on KNOX. Central's at home to open up with Fargo Davies. The last time through against the AAA teams, at least for now, for Red River and Central. The new relegation process will come into play coming up next year. Red River and Central will be 2A football teams next year. But they are 3A this year. As here's a free kick by Fargo South right at Matt Scribner. And Red River able to play that one out as Scribner will throw it out towards the near side on a streak for Mustafa Abdi. Abdi overran the ball. Central tomorrow night, 6:06 pregame report here at Cushman Field. Kickoff will be at 7. And you'll hear it tomorrow night here on KNOX and the Franson Bank and Trust New Vision Truck and Accessories Sports Network. Ball free in the midfield. Riley Martin running up for Fargo South, trying to get free. Waiting for him was Ethan Doctor for Grand Forks Red River, and Doctor will run the ball back towards the near sideline. He's on the near line with a long pass out looking for Mo Deridian. Deridian coming up against pressure from Philomore Gebreyesus, and Gebreyesus will lose the ball out of bounds. Red River will throw it in. Dilson Garung was part of that play on the near side as well, and Red River also has Mustafa Abdi playing, at least in that moment, on the right side of the field. A little bit of a whistle slowing things down. Red River doesn't want that. They want to pick up the pace. Brecken Short waiting on the right side of the field to throw one in for Red River. Grant Lelm will come back into the matchup. He'll replace Dilson Garung in the Red River lineup. Still waiting for the throw in from Short. Short throws it towards the goal line. This will be kicked out by Rom Thong and sent to midfield. Long run to get to it there. Thong comes up with control, rejoining the play. Works right side where Grant Lelm took it away. And then Bishel Monger has been playing a lot of kind of a midfielder going back and forth between midfield and defender. Perhaps Fargo South making the adjustment that Red River did, kind of playing with 3.5 defenders. Ball goes free off the right side. Philomore Ghebreyesus comes back to the middle, crossing over towards his right foot and is run down by Ethan Doctor. Doctor got back defensively, was able to quell the threat with Philomore Ghebreyesus playing way up into Red River side, and the Riders needed a bit of a defensive presence. Brecken Short kicks the ball up the far sideline. That'll be cut off by Bishel, actually by Taylor Labungo, and Labungo will just kick it out of bounds. Red River is set to bring it in. They bring it back towards midfield. Long run to get to it for Jacob Voracek. Voracek looking at Mustafa Abdi on the right. Back to Voracek. Give and go there with Abdi coming back down the right side of the field. That'll be cut off by Bishel Monger and sent back into the defensive core. Labungo with a kick, lobbing one out towards the right side, trying to find a run from Charlie Larson. Chaves came over to cut that off. Puts it up in the air, and this will go beyond the far sideline. Perhaps not. Didn't quite make it beyond the line on the far side. Looked like it might have, but it didn't. De La Cruz comes over to put some pressure on the ball. South gets it back to the midfield. A little bit of a 4-on-3 advantage here. They send it down into the near side corner, but a bit too long for a run coming right side from Bishel Monger to try to cut it off. Monger watches it trickle beyond the sideline. And now Ethan Doctor picks up the soccer ball for Red River and tries to throw in back to middle. Jacob Voracek is the first man there. Gannon Brooks comes up with a touch in the midfield as well. Brooks running with Mustafa Abdi on his right. Abdi comes back to Brooks on the right sideline. Long crossing pass out in front. The header to Brecken Short. Short trying to get free. Chesson Coleman came out to cut him off and took some contact. The goalie actually was run on that play and ends up going down onto the turf as he mixed it up with Brecken Short. And Short won the physical play. Good run by Red River. Lots of touches. Great passing. They just can't quite get the shot away. Jager Wallstedt will kick it free for Fargo South off the top of the goalie's box. Sends it back out to center. Rom Thong heads it back into Red River territory. Ball loose off the right side. Here's a run again by Bishel Monger. Monger trying to get free. Comes across the defender, but Ethan Doctor cut him off. Tries to keep the ball off the goal line. Does. Sends it out of bounds on the near sideline. Monger feels like he has an opportunity to keep pressure alive with a quick throw in. We're going to see a handed ball that will come back towards the near line, and Red River is going to give up a free kick to Fargo South. So the Bruins are going to have a free kick. It looks like it'll take place off the left side, perhaps about 20 yards shy of the goal. And we'll see how the Bruins look to set this up. They're going to have Sujam Gale come over to make the kick towards the middle of the field. The Riders will put a block in front of him, 3-man on the near side of the field. And the party will gather on the far side. Gale looking for a long kick towards the upper right corner, just trying to thread one in, and ends up sending it over the goalpost. And this will come back over the crossbar, I should say, and this will come back to Grand Forks Red River on the kick away. Good kick by Gale. Tried to put a little English on it and bend it in up in the upper right-hand corner from the left side of the field. Had the right idea and just ends up coming up a bit short on the angle needed to put that one into the net. A free ball out at center, and the ball kicked away by Taylor Labungo for Fargo South into the Red River side. Loose out at center again. Sujam Gale will chest it down, working right. Derek Chaves was there, then a touch coming up as well from Angel De La Cruz. Ball sent back to the middle. Here's Gannon Brooks. Red River's got 5, approaching 6 men coming up the field against 4 from Fargo South, but the Bruins were able to get back rather quickly. The Riders mishandled the ball a bit. Brooks on the near side looking, trying to get away from some pressure. Sujam Gale over the top, kicks the ball out of bounds for the Bruins, and Red River will throw it in on the near sideline. Match into the 9th minute of the second half, now into the 49th minute of the match tonight. And we're at 0-0 on our Hugo's Low scoreboard between Grand Forks Red River and Fargo South. Ball out in the middle of the field for Red River. And Mo Deridian trying to get free. Came back right side for Mustafa Abdi. Gannon Brooks picks up a deflected ball. Out in the middle, Brecken Short heading it back towards the goal. And Chesson Coleman comes out of the box to pick up a loose ball for Fargo South and settle down the play in front of him. So Coleman will kick it away. Drop kick off the right side, angling this back towards the left. Pretty good kick. He was looking on the near side for Bischel-Monger, who's been very active for the Bruins, moving back and forth. Really is playing a true midfielder position. He came out of his defensive position, is playing midfield right now for the Bruins, trying to give them an extra offensive spark. And it's worked out a little bit. He scored the lone goal in the opening half. It was disallowed on offsides, but Bischel-Monger getting active tonight for the Bruins, moving out of that defensive role, and it's paid dividends for Fargo South. Gannon Brooks, a free kick, sends this one up from about the 38-yard line, or about 48 yards away. It'll be sent out off a deflection by Taylor Labungo. Played at middle, Ram Thong trying to get a header into one, then Mongol for Fargo South, sent it back into Red River territory. Derek Chaves cuts it down. Chaves looking back towards the right side of the field, sends it back loose. And we'll see Philemon Ghebreyesus coming free with the ball over on the right side. Loses it towards the sideline. A quick run by Dela Cruz, but he can't keep the ball in playable territory for Red River. And the Bruins will play it in. Riley Martin will come into the matchup for Fargo South. And the Bruins, I believe, will take Charlie Larson out of the matchup. And Red River is going to make a couple of changes as well. Lucas Height will come into the matchup for the first time here in the second half, and I believe Brendan Mullen did as well. Ball on the right sideline, off the throw-in. Red River looking to take control in their backfield. Ethan Doctor looking towards the right side, comes back to middle. Mullen with a touch, a quick look to Mustafa Abdi. That's a great kick, and it slows down right in front of the near sideline of the pass. Cut off on the near side by Fargo South, Taylor Labungo, but really well-executed play by Brendan Mullen, and he put a little English on that to slow it down for Mustafa Abdi to be able to run to the ball. Grant Lelm playing out into the midfield, and now a run on the near side, and we'll see Philemon Ghebreyesus getting back to it before it can be run down by Brendan Mullen. But here comes a throw-in for Grand Forks Red River on the near sideline. And the ball is bounced into play. Great crosser by Brooks. This will be kicked out, however. Jagger Ralstad got to it for the Bruins. Sends it back out into the midfield. Cut off on the near side by Ram Thong. He's looking to make a play. Thong sends it out to open territory on the near side. Good run coming from Ethan Jablone there forward. However, this is cut off and then lost by Ethan Doctor. Jablone comes up with control. Doctor steps back in front of him to take it away from him near the corner. But a dangerous opportunity momentarily for Fargo South of their forward, Jablone, working in open space out of the left corner of the Red River defense. Ball ends up beyond the near sideline. And Fargo South with the new player throwing it in. And we don't have a number 2 on our roster. That may be Alvin Welge, a sophomore that's listed as a junior varsity player playing this in. But we don't have a number 2 listed on our roster. We have a number 3, but not a number 2, and that was number 2 throwing it in. On the right side, ball with Doctor, looking back in his backfield for Abdi. That's broken up by the young 8th grader, Charlie Metzger, stepping onto the field with some varsity minutes tonight for Fargo South. Ball loose on the right side, long run to get to it for Chaves. It's knocked free, quick play out in front of the net, looking for an opportunity that was just standing there with Grant Lelm. They were unable to find him. Ball loose again. And we saw Dilson Garung trying to get free on top of the goalie's box. Lucas Height will take control. Back to Chaves on the right side. Dela Cruz on the right as well along the sideline. He can't hold it. It ends up out of bounds. But it will be off of Fargo South, it looks like, from here. And Dela Cruz is set to throw it in. We have an injury for the Bruins that's going to bring the clock to a stop with 27:32 left in the second half. We play what would be into the 53rd minute of this first half of play. Our match is brought to you commercial-free during playable time tonight by Franson Bank and Trust, by New Vision Truck and Accessories, by Lake Region State College, and by Atlas Auto. Also by RBB Electric, by Applegren Construction, and Lithia Toyota. This is not an official timeout, but it's a stoppage on the field. And our timeouts tonight are brought to you by Lake Region State College in Devils Lake. At Lake Region State College, we change lives. And Atlas Auto. It's time to find your next car. Use the Atlas Auto in Grand Forks. Red River to throw it in. They send it out on the right side. A touch by Brendan Mullen towards the middle. And a good run by Chesson Coleman to come out of the goalkeeper's box. And then he comes up with a long throw to the near side of the field. Metzger trying to get free for Fargo South, and he did. Comes up right side looking for Ethan Jablone, who had some space. He's cut off immediately, however. Good defensive play on the near side by Morgan Hoffs. Hoffs trying to come up the sideline. This will be knocked out of bounds on the near edge by Alvin Welge. And Red River will play it back in on a throw-in. This is kicked out by Philemon Ghebreyesus. Works back into Red River territory. Touch off the right side by Chaves. Now Hops comes over to cut it off. They look towards the right side. Played back towards center by Dela Cruz. He's looking for Gannon Brooks in the middle. Brooks a stop. Grant Lelm coming into the play. Plays it back over towards the near side. Ethan Doctor trying to distribute towards the right. That one's knocked free by Gage Zimmerman of Fargo South. Zimmerman looking for a run with Metzger. And the ball too strong for Metzger. Ends up out of bounds. And this will go back to Grand Forks Red River. Sam Larson also in the matchup now for Fargo South as one of their defenders. So Larson comes out to get some minutes. Morgan Hops will step up, taking control of the throw-in from Ethan Doctor. And Hops goes looking on the right side for Dela Cruz. Dela Cruz is fronted. Ball loose. Dela Cruz still playing for it. Now looking for Lucas Height with some support as well. Height steps in. Ball goes back towards midfield. Mustafa Abdi closes on it against Charlie Metzger, or rather against Metzger. Abdi able to step through a couple of would-be defenders, including the man we just mentioned, Larson, and also Metzger. Long pass up to the right side. Dela Cruz trying to catch up to it. Chip shot back towards the middle for high ball loose. Mustafa Abdi looking to run it down, but Red River was once again offsides. You could see it coming too. And it was actually Dela Cruz that was offside as the ball went to him. He had a step ahead of the defender, so you could tell that he was going to be offsides. But again, we see Dela Cruz and Height. They've got such a great two-man game on that left side of the field. Dela Cruz and Height just looking for each other. And Dela Cruz had a good setup with Lucas Height, but Dela Cruz a bit too far ahead of the defender, gets hit for offsides, and Jager Ralstead will play it out. Comes back to middle, ball on the near side. Doctor with the play. Comes back towards the midfield. Ram Thong stepping in front of one. Comes back towards the near side. Metzger running down to the near corner. Metzger coming to a stop along the goal line. Pressured by Mustafa Abdi. Ram Thong misplayed one. And Red River able to come up with it. Dilson Garung stops one before going out of bounds. He comes back to the middle for Gannon Brooks. Brooks running up the far side of the field. Long pass. And Dela Cruz comes up with it. Dela Cruz running towards the left. He gets stopped but comes to a turn. Leaves it back out in front. This will be kicked out by Taylor Labungo to the far sideline. But Red River opening things up on a long run where they found Dela Cruz, and this time no offsides would have hampered him. But Red River couldn't quite form up to complete the offensive play. Long run again for Brendan Mullen. He had some open space to run to, and he was ahead of Ghebreyesus. However, Chesson Coleman, who's been a very active goalkeeper tonight for Fargo South, comes out and makes the stop on it, and will drop kick it back towards the middle. Ball loose on the far sideline. Ram Thong with a touch. Comes back towards the far edge, played up by Red River now into an offensive territory. Brendan Mullen gets run down by Ghebreyesus. Ghebreyesus trying to dribble through some traffic, ends up shoving Grant Lelm down. Grant Lelm gets up looking for a call immediately, and he will get one. And we'll see the ball turned over to Red River. We're brought to you commercial-free during playable time tonight by Spray Advantage, by PS Garage Doors, by Lithia Chrysler Jeep Dodge, Abra Auto Body and Glass, by Perkins Family Restaurant, and Hugo's Family Marketplace. Long kick by Dilson Garung. Leaves it up in the middle of the goalie box. Red River trying to exploit the advantage. The ball goes loose at center. Fillmore Ghebreyesus sends it out. Metzger looking for Ram Thong at center. Garung ram Thong off the ball. Sends it back towards the right side. Waiting for the offside, Dela Cruz. Dela Cruz was going to be offside, so he waited. Ends up taking some contact from behind from Gage Zimmerman. But I believe they're going to hit him for offside anyway, and so Ralstead will end up kicking it free for Fargo South off the right side of the field. Match now into its 57th minute. We're still scoreless here at Cushman Field on the Hugo's Low scoreboard. Grand Forks Red River, Fargo South tied for third in the Eastern Dakota Conference standings coming into the night. Crucial points on the line here in the EDC. Red River trying to open up the offense after one goal against Cheyenne, one goal against Central, and one goal against Fargo Davies. And they've had some opportunities that they've earned tonight, but they haven't been able to find the net as of yet in this one. And Fargo South, Red River still scoreless. Lucas Height with the ball, looking down towards the right corner. Little chip shot out in front. Mustafa Abdi's got it, made the chip off the right side and hit the side of the net. That was actually intended out in front for a run by, I believe, Brendan Mullen, or was that rather Brecken Short? I think that was Brecken Short that was the intended target. And the ball just went a little bit long. Actually, it was Brendan Mullen that was the intended target. The ball went long. Abdi was able to knock it down, tried to make a quick adjustment, and ended up coming up just a little bit shallow on his attempt towards the net and hit the side of the net rather than putting it out between the pipes to see if he could squeak one through. Ball on the right side. Dela Cruz with a run for Red River. Leaves this one out in front. Long run to get to it for Brendan Mullen. Can he cut it off before the corner? He heeled it back in. Good play to overrun the ball and use the heel to keep it playable. It comes up the near sideline. Metzger will kick around a defender, and now Metzger with a good run. Dilson Garung gets back to screen him off the ball. Looks to control it back in his own end. Ends up playing it off the foot of Ethan Jablone, however. And it's the Riders having to adjust quickly defensively. Derek Chaves coming out on the left side for Red River, trying to run up the far sideline. Leaves one out in open space. Jager Ralsted looking to run it down for Fargo South back in his own end and turns and sends this one into the Red River bench. We'll have a throw-in coming up for the Rough Riders in the far sideline. So Red River will throw it in, still looking for the first tally of the night. Lucas Height out in front. Brendan Mullen looking to make a turn, fighting his way into the corner against pressure from Ralsted. And Ralsted again just picking up control of the ball and sending it up the far sideline. Derek Chaves was trying to coax that ball to trickle out of bounds for a throw-in. Didn't get it. He'll turn it back to the middle, and Dilson Garung will make the play. Garung sends it back up the middle. Chesson Coleman comes out to make a play out of the goalkeeper's position, picking up a bouncing ball. And Fargo South will kick it back. The drop kick off the right foot from Coleman goes to center. And we'll see a play by Jacob Voracek off the side of the body. Then this one's kicked beyond the Fargo South sideline. And this will be a play in for Red River. Mustafa Abdi will come over, grab the ball onto the bottom level of the stands, and Ethan Doctor will throw it in for the Rough Riders. We're now into, the final stages of the 60th minute, about to flip the second half of the second half coming up here. Red River and Fargo South still looking for a goal in this one. Lucas Height running his way down the far side of the field, meeting a pretty strong defensive effort. Ball ends up out of bounds. Height will throw it back in for the Rough Riders. Height takes a look, sends it back up towards the right sideline. Be taken down by Chaves. Long-range kick towards the right side corner for Abdi is too strong. That ends up out of bounds. And Fargo South will end up with a throw-in. 61st minute begins, halfway through the second half. And still a score of 0-0 between Fargo South and Grand Forks Red River on the Hugo's Low scoreboard. Rom Thong looking to throw it in, but they'll hold things up as Charlie Larson looks to sub into the matchup. And Larson will come into the forward position, so he left a midfielder spot. Will come into the forward position. The throw-in is knocked out of bounds by the Bruins, and Gannon Brooks looks to exploit an advantage in the middle of the field, trying to find Jacob Voracek. Voracek ends up losing the ball. Long-range run to get back, and this is knocked free. Charlie Larson coming in. A great job by Morgan Hoffs to catch back up to him after Hoffs misplayed the ball, and that allowed Charlie Larson to run free for Fargo South with possession of the ball, but Hoffs got back quickly to cut him off. Ball on the near side of the field ends up being trickled out of bounds. Waiting for a call here, and this is going to go in favor of Red River, so the Riders will throw it in. Gannon Brooks on the right sideline, dangling near the boundary, comes back out towards the middle of the field now, makes a long-range kick towards the middle, trying to open something up with Dela Cruz in the middle. Brooks continuing to fight for a loose ball along with Mustafa Abdi on the near side. Larson at center, looking to play one down for South, lost it. Back off to the right side for Ethan Doctor, and now up the field for Dilson Garung. He goes looking for Height. Height ends up putting his body into one of the Bruins, and the ball ends up trickling out of bounds on the right side of the field. Lucas Height's going to track the ball down, which would indicate a Red River throw-in coming up. And Brendan Mullen's going to come out of a forward position for the Rough Riders, and Brecken Shorts will come back in. So Brecken Shorts back on the field for Red River. As we approach 18 minutes to go, this will bring us into the 63rd minute of the matchup. And still scoreless on our Hugo's Low scoreboard. And here's a ball that can't be controlled, ends up being booted out of bounds by Dela Cruz. And Fargo South will get the ball back. Playable time brought to you tonight commercial-free by Chris Moen of Nodak Insurance, by Finest Auto Trim, by Acme Electric, and also by Acme Equipment. Also brought to you by West Metro Buick GMC, East Grand Forks Dairy Queen, Shields All Sports, and Phil Thompson and Associates. Our next soccer matchup on KNOX will be coming up a week from tonight on September 3rd. And that'll be on the east side of the river. A chance for the East Grand Forks Green Wave to make their way onto the air in a year where their volleyball and football teams do not have the opportunity to play in the fall. They'll play in the spring. But East Grand Forks soccer will be on the field coming up on Thursday night to take on Crookston. Little Polk County battle. We'll have it for you on KNOX from East Grand Forks coming up on Thursday night, September 3rd. That'll be our next soccer matchup. Ball with Metzger on the near sideline for Fargo South looking to get free. This is booted back by Doctor towards the middle of the field. Following that, Taylor Labungo and just boots went out of bounds on the near side. It'll go back to Grand Forks Red River for a throw-in right around center field. Ethan Doctor to Brooks with a header trying to get back to the middle. And again, Taylor Labungo just puts a long-range boot on it to send it out of bounds, and the Riders will throw it back in. But again, this is an effective opportunity here for Fargo South. They continue to force the ball back into Red River's side, and the Riders now trying to reverse some of that. Back on the matchup, Derek Chaves at a defensive position comes back to the near side for Ethan Doctor. Doctor surveying, long-range kick trying to get Dela Cruz free against Ralsted. Dela Cruz puts a head onto it to bring it down. It's loose at center, misplayed a little bit by the Riders. Voracek ends up taking a body from behind from Larson. And the ball sent out by Metzger on the near sideline trying to run down the field. Morgan Hoffs cuts it off for Red River. Back to Chaves at center. Little seeing eye pass to the near side for Voracek. He went looking for Gannon Brooks, but nobody home on the back end. Bishel Monger will take that one and send it back up the field. Ball loose on the near side. A stop on the near edge by Charlie Larson for Fargo South, looking for a kick out of the left corner. Ball ends up out of bounds, last touched by Ethan Doctor. And the Bruins will have a play-in coming up on the Red River side of the field. We're in the 65th minute of this matchup. Still 0-0 on the Hugo's Low scoreboard. Throw-in comes out towards center. Red River cut it off. Gannon Brooks with the first touch on it. Loose ball to Mustafa Abdi on the right sideline. Brecken Short looking back at Mustafa Abdi. In this type of situation, you take a look at Mustafa Abdi. They're going to give this to Fargo South, and that's not the right call. That ball was clearly touched last by Abdi before it came along the sideline. As a matter of fact, the official on the near side of the field kind of shrugged her shoulders as to suggest that she might not know where it was supposed to go, and then eventually just gave it back to Fargo South in the throw-in. But Mustafa Abdi is the player in this situation that really could make something happen for Grand Forks Red River. The athleticism that he shows on the field when we get into this kind of time could be important. Brecken Short playing with Lucas Height on the left. Short coming away with some pressure, pressuring down towards the corner. Good read by Jager Wallstead, gave him some space to cut it off. It ends up beyond the goal line, and the Riders should get a corner kick out of this with the clock down into the 66th minute of the matchup. And Red River will get the corner kick. We'll see how they set things up. They haven't really come together with a set piece yet around the top of the goalie box. They're not going to. They'll just put this up into pressure out in the midfield. There was no one really there on the back end. They didn't really set much up there if they set anything up at all. Ball goes free to center. Charlie Larson with control. Coming off towards the right side for Ram Thong. Thong taking a look, now calling for it back as he gave the ball away to Gabriasis. Gabriasis comes back for Thong on the right side. That ball cut off. Mustafa Abdi at center, chests it down, looking back for Gannon Brooks in the middle. Brooks coming up the near side. Good run by Abdi. Abdi gets around the pressure, coming back towards the right. Stops along the goal line. The crosser, and Chesson Coleman comes out with a great play, taking one away from Mustafa Abdi on a diving catch in the heart of the goalkeeper's box. That was a great run by Mustafa Abdi coming down to the near corner. But again, a great read by Chesson Coleman, who has really made some nice plays for Fargo South, reads the field well, and has kept things moving in certain spots when transition was needed, and has made some gutsy plays with Red River pressuring the net throughout the course of the night. Game into its, or rather match into its 67th minute for Grand Forks Red River and Fargo South, and we are scoreless 0-0 on the Hugo's Low scoreboard. Ball on the near side of the field. Coming in with Brendan Mullen. Crosser by Gannon Brooks out towards the middle from the sideline. The ball will be kicked way out of bounds. Dilson Garong looking for a chance. And I think they're going to rule corner kick here for Grand Forks Red River. Garong with the boot said that that was deflected out of bounds, and it looks like Taylor Labungo may have got the last play on it. So Red River is going to take the ball into the corner. Dilson Garong will kick it. This will be from the right corner. Garung is a left-footed kicker, so they'll send him over to the right. A handful of riders way out at the top of that 23-yard box, and the crosser goes right into the side of the net. And a little bit confusing here to see kind of what Red River's done their last couple of corner kicks. They really haven't set up a lot. It just seems like they're looking for a little bit more of a dynamic, creative type play rather than a set play or a set piece out of the corners in the last couple of opportunities. It's an interesting way to go about doing it. They may think they have an advantage there in their speed and size. Rather than trying to make a set, just simply go ahead and play to something that's more fit for their athleticism. And they do seem to have an advantage athletically tonight over Fargo South, but it hasn't paid dividends out of the last couple of corners. Dilson Garung off the latest throw-in. Over towards the right side. Derek Chaves is there. Back again to Garung in the middle of the field. He'll come back for Mustafa Abdi. Chip shot pass right side. Brendan Mullen trying to run around a defender. Heels one back towards the middle. Great pass. Gannon Brooks to the lefty kick. Chesson Coleman has to make a tough stop on a ground ball to him. That was a bit of creativity from Gannon Brooks. He turned after picking one up. It was well away, about 23 yards away. And he turned, put a little spin into one off the left foot, and that grounded its way in. Now a bit of a tough stop for Chesson Coleman. In the long run, though, he stood up to it. Fargo South transitions and earns a throw-in on the Red River side of the field, right around 40 yards out. The throw-in will come off the near side for the Bruins. Throw-in comes back towards the top of the box and knocked away almost immediately by Ethan Doctor. Chipped out by Sam Larson for Red River. Doctor looking to play it down, comes off near side. Here comes Doctor in a run. He's got some room to operate along the near sideline. Tried to make a step around Metzger and got taken down. That'll be ruled a violation. And Red River will go right back to work. Free kick for Dilson Garung. Garung coming back towards the middle, trying to find Jacob Voracek on a play. It's cut off by Rom Thong. He came back to middle, but Derek Chaves was there. Working back on top for Garung. Left side for Doctor. Now ball goes out towards the right for Dela Cruz. Great pass from Brecken Short. Dela Cruz leaving it out towards the middle. He had Gannon Brooks on a run. That'll be booted beyond the right sideline by Taylor Labungo for Fargo South. And a throw-in coming up for Red River. Time beginning to grow short in this one. Moving towards the 70th minute of the matchup. Throw-in comes out. Abdi had an opportunity after the throw-in momentarily, just deflected a bit wide of him. Now cut off on the right. Gannon Brooks with a kick, but that one off target. Ends up going well beyond the net over the bar, and Fargo South will play it in. Now into the 71st minute of the matchup. 0-0 on the Hugo's Low scoreboard. Game broadcast is brought to you tonight during playable time, commercial-free, by Lotus Massage, Therapy, and Wellness. Express Auto Glass and Repair, Farmers Union Insurance, Aaron Dunphy, your agent, the Golf Center, Pizza, Jarrell's Sports Center, Phil Thompson and Associates, and Shields All Sports. And the ball with Fargo South, they'll boot it up the far sideline. This one trickles out of bounds. Red River will get it back. And Derek Chaves goes out to retrieve the ball and send it back in. Again, tomorrow night, Grand Forks Central football. The Knights open up the Grand Forks football season at home to take on Fargo Davies. We'll have the matchup for you, 6:06 pregame and a 7 o'clock kickoff from Cushman Field. You'll hear it tomorrow right here on KNOX and the Franson Bank and Trust, New Vision Truck and Accessories Sports Network. Ball on the right sideline. A battle for control ends up out of bounds off of Jacob Voracek. And we'll see a throw-in coming in from Grand Forks Red River on the far sideline. And once again, it will be Derek Chaves that's set to throw it in for Grand Forks Red River. Chaves will send it back towards the top of the goalie's box, left out of midfield. Good run for Gannon Brooks. Brooks taking a look. He comes out towards some open space, found Brendan Mullen. Mullen made a good step around a defender, and here comes Mullen trying to exploit the advantage, dribbling up the field. Mullen comes to a stop. He had Mustafa Abdi on his right, tries to slide and keep the ball with Abdi. He does. Great play by Mullen to keep control of the ball. This will be booted out of bounds by Fargo South. And a little bit of talking going on in a very sportsmanlike manner between a couple of players there. Brendan Mullen got taken down a little bit on some contact. I think it was Bishop Monger that got to him, but they greet each other as they get back into play. And now Monger stepping out in front of Brendan Mullen on a throw-in. Mullen puts a shove into Monger from behind. Ball ends up out of bounds. Monger wants a call that he won't get. And Red River will have a throw-in deep in south territory, or the south side of the field, on the near sideline. Ethan Doctor to throw it in. Sends it out towards the top of the box. This goes loose. It's kept in play by Jager Ralstead. I don't think anybody expected that. They thought he was going to let that trickle in or perhaps go out of bounds, and he tried to keep it playable. And now Red River going out, retrieving the ball quickly and running it back for another throw-in as they realize time is beginning to slip away a little bit. Ball comes back towards the near side, long range. It's Grant Lelm trying to come down the near side of the field for Mustafa Abdi. Now Gannon Brooks out of the corner. Great crosser, and Ralstead will kick that beyond the goal line, getting back to defend it for Fargo South. And now another corner opportunity for Grand Forks Red River. With the clock ticking into its 74th minute of this matchup, currently in the 73rd. And the Riders with a corner kick coming up. It'll be Dilson Gurung with the corner. Sends it close to the net, looking for a header on the top of the goalie box. Players going down. The man that's down is Jagger Wallstead on a collision. They're going to play free of it. Ball comes out to the near side for Ram Thong. Made a long pass. Was able to get it towards the right side of the field for Bishel Monger. Monger trying to run around Chaves, and Chaves will end up sending it beyond his own goal line. And now we'll see a corner kick coming up for Fargo South. And let's see what the call is going to be here. Ralstead was down back in his own territory, and they may have actually ruled a clock stoppage here. It looks like that's what they're going to do. They're going to have Ralstead sub off the field. So Riley Martin will come back onto the field for Fargo South as Ralstead will step out. That'll be Martin, a midfielder, coming in to replace Jagger Wallstead, a defender. And we still await the Fargo South corner kick. So the clock halts momentarily as the match is in its 74th minute here at Cushman Field with 6 minutes, 36 seconds left to play. And Fargo South with a corner kick from the right side, trying to find the first goal of the night for either team. South had one disallowed earlier, and now they'll go with a corner kick here. Cross around on top, knocked away. Good play by Derek Chaves, and he wants to exploit. Comes out to middle, pass that was just a bit behind Brecken short. This will go loose to center. Long run for Lucas Height to get to it. Chesson Coleman, the goalkeeper, coming out and sending it wide to the near sideline on a play out towards the near edge, and Red River's going to get a throw-in on the near side of the field, well up on the Fargo South side of midfield. And now another whistle. We're going to have another reset of the clock. I think he said 6:20. He wants the clock reset for 6 minutes and 20 seconds left to play. Oh, now he wants apparently 6:18. Let's see. All right, well, I mean, this guy's got an unbelievable eye for the clock out there tonight. He's been crack stuff out there, and 2 second difference there between 6:20 and 6:18, but that's okay, whatever it takes, right? Ball loose on the near side of the field. Red River is going to get a free kick. As we get replaying, Dilson Gurung is set for the free kick for Grand Forks Red River. They're going to set more of a play now. They're going to accumulate right about 20 yards out. Gurung will make the kick towards the net. A long look for this one and a header that comes out. Another player goes down. We may have had an offside call there as well. Let's see what's going to be the call coming out of this. And now we'll see another stoppage of the clock as another Fargo South Bruin is slow to get up. Apparently is up now. And what will the ruling be here? We'll see South with a throw-in in their own side. Jagger Ralstead will come back in as a substitution for Fargo South. He was out momentarily. We'll have an opportunity to come back in. And Fargo South still waiting for, no, it will not be a South throw-in after all. This is going to be a throw-in by Mustafa Abdi for Red River. Lucas Height looking back towards Abdi on the near sideline. Leaves this one up for grabs. Back to Height, trying to control to Abdi on the sideline again, but this one too strong. And this time, well, they'll say Fargo South knocked it out, so Red River will have another opportunity to throw it in. So the Riders will throw it in. Gannon Brooks is set to throw. He'll come to Dilson Gurung, waiting for it along the sideline. Gurung tries to make a pass, deflected back to him. Leaves it out in front, kicked away by Ralstead. He'll send it off the near sideline. Another throw in for Red River, this time deeper towards the corner. But time really slipping away here. Match beginning to roll into its 76th minute, and we are scoreless 0-0. Out on top, Gannon Brooks looking for a chance. This ball knocked free off the throw-in, comes back out to center. Kept alive by Morgan Hoffs, trying to dribble through some traffic and put on a little extra pressure. Ball knocked loose again at center. Grant Lelm with a touch to Gannon Brooks, looking to make a quick pivot and run down the sideline. Crosser out in front. Chesson Coleman steps in front of an attempt by Brecken Short. And another big play by Chesson Coleman for Fargo South. Coleman's made 2 or 3 very good plays tonight against pressure that, if they end up salvaging a draw out of this or even come back with a late goal for the win, the game ball probably has to go to their goalkeeper tonight, Chesson Coleman, who's made some very good reads out of the goalkeeper's area to keep Red River away from some good opportunities with pressure on. Free kick coming up for Red River off the far sideline. Dilson Gurung set to tee it up. Gurung on the left side. Red River will stretch things out across the top of the 23-yard box or the 18-meter box, something along those lines. And a ball kicked towards the net off of a header right out in front. Great play that was out in front for Red River, and they end up pushing it just a little bit wide. There was a good opportunity there. I believe it was Brecken Short. No, it was Grant Lelm, rather, that had the opportunity right in front of the net. Kick came from the far side, and he turned, was able to make contact with it while in the air and redirected it and sent it just wide of its intended target. Taylor Labungo back into the matchup for Fargo South as a defender. And another kick by Chesson Coleman coming up. Now it will be Labungo. 3.5 minutes to play. This match is into its 78th minute. Rather, 77th minute. And we are scoreless right now. 0-0, 0-0 on the Hugo's Low scoreboard. Fargo South looking for a play. And Morgan Hoff's back to try to cut one off. It ends up out in front, and a diving stop by Matt Scribner. Scribner with a huge play for Grand Forks Red River, diving to come up with a stop as Fargo South was able to squeeze a little 3-on-2 game out in front on the far side of the field. And Angel De La Cruz looking to play one up the field. Has one knocked out of bounds by Fargo South. As a goalkeeper, there's a play or two you got to make every game, and Matt Scribner just made a big one, making a diving stop to keep this thing scoreless at this point. Ball loose on the near side of the field. This will roll out of bounds off of Fargo South, and Red River will throw it in. 2 minutes and 35 seconds left to play. Match currently into the 78th minute of play, and we are still scoreless here at Cushman Field. Ball on the near side. Ethan Doctor trying to find it. He was unable to run it down with a header. Ends up out of bounds off of South. Red River will throw it in again. Doctor taking a look. Trying to find an opportunity that he wants to go to here. Sends it back towards the middle of the field. He was able to find one there. Brecken Short looking to make a play. Comes off towards the right side. Little crosser out in front. He's got Lucas Height there waiting for it. Comes down with Gannon Brooks off the chest. Turned by Labungo and a whistle. And it looks like a free kick for Grand Forks Red River. And it is a free kick for the Rough Riders. This is going to come from around the 15-yard line. And a chance for Red River to set something up late with a little traffic in front. Dilson Gurung is going to make the kick. Gurung gets the whistle. He's a left-footed kicker. Good angle to try to attack the net here. He does. Looking for it, and he scores! Dilson Gurung with the kick off the free kick. Dilson Gurung with a chance to attack the net, and Gurung comes up with a score. It caught Chesson Coleman a little bit by surprise, frozen. I'm not sure Coleman thought that Gurung was going to attack the net from that angle, but Gurung was a left-footed kicker. He had a great chance to attack the net. He scores off the free kick, and Red River will take a 1-0 lead in the matchup. 1-0 Rough Riders on the Hugo's Low scoreboard. Goal scored by Red River. Brought to you by RBB Electric tonight. On call, on time, and online at RBBelectric.com. That's RBBelectric.com. Dilson Gurung with the first goal of the night for Grand Forks Red River, and the Riders, again, in the late stages, come up with the lead. Can they hold on to a 1-goal margin and try to take home 3 big points in the Eastern Dakota Conference tonight? Mustafa Abdi out at center, run off the ball by Ram Thong. Ball comes back to Charlie Larson near side. Larson attacking with Dilson Gurung. We're into the final minute of the matchup, the 80th minute rolling by us. Ball kicked free at the middle. Red River bringing everybody back defensively. The only man they have downfield is Brecken Short. So everyone back defensively to try to preserve this 1-goal lead. A header by De La Cruz and a back kick coming from Morgan Hoffs out towards center. Another play back out by Taylor Labungo trying to put this back up into an offensive area. Long stretch back towards the right side. Ball kicked out to center once again. Good play by De La Cruz to open this thing up. Chesson Coleman comes into the play, plays it back towards the middle. Mustafa Abdi trying to knock it down. It goes free of him. However, we see Ethan Doctor playing the ball back towards the near sideline. It'll be chested out of bounds there by Taylor Labungo of Fargo South. And Red River's Mustafa Abdi will throw it in. Final 10 seconds of the matchup going away. Off the near sideline, this is just thrown to empty space by Gannon Brooks. And Red River will take home 3 points in the Eastern Dakota Conference tonight, and they'll take home 3 points on a goal in the 79th minute tonight by Dilson Gurung. The leading scorer from last year's Grand Forks Red River Rough Rider team comes up big. 4th consecutive match for Red River to score just a single goal. But they will notch their 2nd win of the season, grab 3 points in the EDC, move to 7 points in the league tonight. break the tie with Fargo South and keep themselves in contention as the season moves its way into week number 3. But a great effort tonight for Red River. They held on, made one goal stand up, and your final score on the Hugo's Low scoreboard tonight from Cushman Field is Grand Forks Red River 1 and Fargo South 0. Our postgame report brought to you by Spray Advantage is on the way in just a couple of moments. Do stay with us. This is Red River Soccer on the Franson Bank and Trust New Vision Truck and Accessory Sports Network from KNOX.
This is high school soccer on the Franson Bank and Trust New Vision Truck